you cast no shadow at solar noon. The sun is directly over your head. And you can just measure a known distance between two people, and how long does it take the sun to move from one person to the other person with a known distance. You can get a subsolar transit speed, and it turns out that the sun moves at about a little over 1,000 miles an hour between those two locations.
Okay. I mean, how is this proving measurements of Earth curvature?
Yeah, I'll get there. It's a little bit of a walk, but
it's just I have an issue of with looking up in the sky to prove that.
well, we're not looking up in the sky. I told you I did it physically on the ground, right? So I measured about 3 degrees of latitude in North Dakota, going directly north on a line of longitude, and then it's 90 degrees from the equator to the North Pole. So we can do the math and get the distance. Also, we just know how far things are away because we have latitude and longitude that are trustworthy measurements of distance.
Okay,
but
this would all work if the Earth was flat?
Sure, 100% this would all work with the Earth is flat. What won't work, though, is if the Earth is flat and there's a distance from the North Pole out to the equator, right? That's what would be a radius of that circle. The center point being the North Pole and the equator being a circle going around the North Pole. The distance from the North Pole out to that circle of the equator is what's called a radius, right? Do you know what a radius of a circle is?
Yeah.
Okay. So there's a real handy math formula that works really well, that if you take 2 times pi times the radius, you can figure out how big that circle would have to be in objective reality. And if you do 6,215, you come up with 39,000 miles. Well, we know the equator is not 39,000 miles, right? But there's also another interesting characteristic of those measurements. The distance from the North Pole is a quarter of the distance around the equator. In reality, this is just objective reality. We're not here, I'll show you something real quick. Hang on one sec. Let me turn on my camera. Right? So the distance from the North Pole is 6,215 miles. That distance is 1/4 of the distance around here. It also happens to be 1/4 of the arc length going over the surface of a sphere. So 2 times that distance is half. 4 times that distance is the distance around the equator, or the distance from pole to pole. So those distances comport with only one geometric shape. There's no other geometric shape that you can come up with where the distance from here to here is 6,215, and the distance from here all the way back around to here is 24,901. But those are the distances in objective reality. There's no way you can change these distances in any way. But if this is the equator going through North Africa here on a flat plane,
right? Yeah.
And this is the radius coming out to here, this distance would have to be 30. For this distance to be the radius.
Right.
So the 6,215 miles that it takes to get down to the equator, if you were to just go on a line of longitude directly down to the equator, it's 6,215 miles. Everybody, even flat earthers, agree that every line of latitude, every degree of latitude, Polaris drops by 1 degree.
Fine. Now it won't do it. I don't know what I did, but it let me do it on the tablet and in there. Now it won't. It's giving me the notification.
That those two numbers can make. There's no other geometric shape you can.
Okay, but notice he avoids Antarctica. Because they can't science it on their model.
the equator to be what it actually is, 24,901, you need like just under 4,000 miles of distance. But there's 4,000 miles just in here. Like you could physically travel 4,000 miles across north. Like you started here and went to here, you've gone more than 4,000 miles. So how can this section be 4,000 and not?
It's not improving curvature, he's avoiding it. The missing curvature. Random numbers. How does this number get there?
Year to year, in physical miles that you can measure in reality.
Cool story, bro. Where's the curvature in those physical miles?
I'm trying to say, like, so it would have to be.
I mean, come on, man. It could be the same miles on flat Earth. That's a lot of missing curvature from equator to center. Equator to the center. Lena.
That's not an issue. It's just geometry. Like now you're arguing with geometry. Are you saying that the? Well, then there would be more physical distance here, right? Like when you get in a plane and fly.
Plane geometry.
Like
He's avoiding it. He's just saying, look, we have the distance. No, we don't. Maybe we do, but measured in a straight line.
But then now you need to
Ooh, this big fucking bug just flew in my
say
face.
that the equator. So we're
Holy
spacing
crap.
out, right? This is the
But yeah, the distance from the equator, and it's a 90-degree angle. You don't have a 90-degree angle on the
now
ball.
we say the equator's
But yeah,
39,000
90-degree angle
miles
measurement.
around the equator. We know it's not. We know that the sun travels on the equator twice a year on the equinox, and it only takes 24 hours for the sun to come back around. So while the sun's over the Pacific Ocean, does it speed up? Is that?
He's forgetting the Earth tilt. It doesn't stay year-round over the equator. Tilt on your model, ANELEMA. Christmas tree-like rotation, personal dome of your vision. In the comments with the voice to text, bro. Sorry about the noise.
It is physical measurements of curvature, whether you want to believe it or not. Like you can say no.
Surveying doesn't measure curvature. It injects it afterwards. Ask Barron. It said in Jackson. I had to correct it to injects. Or I got blocked. And here we go, we're back.
A little over 3.2 degrees.
Math isn't a measurement. It's a description of the results of a measurement.
Okay.
What do you mean the equator?
Yeah. Are you saying that if I measure 1 degree here, that I can't just multiply it by 360 to get all the way back to here?
So that's not measuring if you're just multiplying from one little point. Doing math instead of measuring to see if it actually drops, assuming drop. When mile distance could be the same. The only thing is there is no right angle equator to the center. On a ball. But you can have right angles to the center on a flat disc though. Center on a flat disc. Alright, now let's see.
It's 24,901. Explain.
Well, what's wrong with it?
Explain nothing. Same number on both models. Let's just say, because that does nothing. Where's the curve? It's a right angle measurement, then the horizontal is flat. Whatever this big ass fucking thing is needs to go. Get the fuck out of my face. Shit. Whatever big bug this is wouldn't leave me alone. And I said, you're injecting curvature. He's assuming arc. Oh, he invited me up.
You use your eyes to make observations, right, DJ?
Not a measurement. You said your eyes are not a measuring tool.
Yeah, so can you tell me what, just using your eyes, which one of those is leaning towards you or away from you?
I don't know. I'd have to say it could appear to my eyes and what your eyes do that some of them aren't the same height, like they're lower than the others, but I don't know.
I didn't ask you which one was higher or lower. I asked you which one was leaning towards you.
Oh, towards me. I couldn't tell on this image without seeing the
Why
bottom.
not? Can't you use your eye? Wait, don't you expect to see buildings leaning when you look off into the distance at a building that's leaning 1 degree away from you at 69 miles away? You would say, I expect to see
This is the
building
side.
leaning
This
next
isn't
to
in
it."
front.
You say that all the time.
Yeah, it should.
No, you're looking straight across the water at a building, and you think you should see it leaning away from you?
Yeah.
Yeah, but you can't tell me which of these are leaning, and they're only...
Right, because we're on a flat earth and we have linear perspective. So what's your point?
What is linear perspective?
Why do you always go back to 2 sticks? That does nothing.
Define linear perspective. This isn't
Well,
two
it's a
sticks,
line.
it's 2 sticks.
It's got line in it first off because this is perspective of the horizon line and the linear or the limits of your vision.
What does... Hang on a sec.
It's that flat optical line that everybody sees at their eye level regardless of altitude.
No.
Yes, that's exactly how it's defined. So you're denying linear perspective where the sky meets the ground and causes a vanishing point.
No, that's not linear perspective.
He said it's not linear perspective, YouTube. What the hell?
No. Here, I'm
Okay, so I'm walking around. I'm going to go look it up on the computer in a second here, just to show you how wrong you are. But
It literally, the first image that comes up is the vanishing point. Is on the image. It shows you it.
Linear perspective is the apparent change in size of an object's angular size due to distance. That's linear perspective. All things moving towards a vanishing point is linear perspective.
I just said that.
Because the apparent... No. You said the line at the horizon where the sky meets the ground is linear perspective. That's not what linear perspective is.
I said that's what the vanishing point is. I said, but anyway, there's...
No,
linear perspective. That is the effect of linear perspective.
You don't have to go all the way.
The horizon line.
Perspective is happening all the time. It's not the horizon.
It is. It's literally the cause of the horizon. You can read further into the definition. Or whatever, Google AI overview,
so
whatever.
This is linear perspective, right? Hang on a sec there. This is linear perspective.
Oh, shit, man. I can't do nothing because it's not fitting me on the screen.
My hand is now smaller because it moved further away from the camera. That's linear perspective. The apparent change in angular size of an object due to distance is linear perspective. That's actually what it is.
No shit, but it causes a horizon line.
My hand didn't shrink, right? My hand just apparently shrunk because it got further away. That's linear perspective.
No, the host is goofy. I agree. So here it is. It creates a horizon line. Literally, it's one of the top 5 things that come up on all the search engines. Is this photo right here? That's from an art book.
I asked you to define it.
And I'm telling you, you said there's no line. It's not the horizon. I said yes, it is.
Oh my god. Okay.
We can rewind it.
You said the definition.
At first, yes, but just before, like I brought this picture up, and before you just said what you just said. You just said that, though.
I asked you to define linear perspective, and you said it's the horizon.
I said it's the effect where the sky meets the ground, causing a horizon.
That's the definition of linear perspective, and then you said it's where the sky meets the ground.
That's part of the definition.
No, it's not. Okay.
That's an example.
Bring up the definition, and I said that the definition is control yourself, be an adult. And I said the definition
Host is goofy.
Stop melting, control yourself.
I'm not melting.
So I said why do you keep unmuting yourself?
Because I can.
And interrupting.
And I'm not melting.
You are. Because
no, I'm not, brother.
For 2 seconds.
That's not melting.
Childish behavior.
I'm calling you out because you're name calling and you're not attacking the argument. So where in all that 90-degree angle?
Okay. Well, now I'll send you down there because you can't control yourself.
Okay.
Well, now I'll send you down.
Host is a troll. You made a claim of a 90-degree...
And you can come back up when you're ready to control yourself for a moment. But I asked you for a definition, and you failed.
You're being a troll.
Linear perspective.
This is why nobody can...
Now we're going to check if I got the definition of linear perspective.
This is why you got no views. Quit being a fucking troll. Fuck this definition. You claim 90-degree angle to the equator. That's a flat. Prove curvature. You're crashing, buddy. Chad agrees. Parroting host. No.
Surface. Its core mechanism changing the object.
The host invited me. LOL. I said prove that 90-degree angle is curved.
Observer creates the visual angle. It takes up the field of view, shrinks inversely to the distance. So, linear perspective does create. The host invited me.
It does create a horizon line. Keep reading and go back to your globe. Sorry, globe.
Yeah, linear perspective. The change in angular size over distance. The apparent change in angular size over distance. Like I said.
Like you said, you're not proving curvature. Random claim.
Rest my case.
I literally said that it's the apparent effect. I was about to say that the apparent effect where the sky meets the earth is an example, and the definition of linear perspective happening outside. It causes the same horizon inside on a table. Oh, I'm back in the bottom. Stop talking like that, maybe.
Okay. So I
You
had a
treat-
question for the other. I had a question for the other person. DJ, this is exactly how you treat people on your live and how every flat earther treats everybody
Nope.
on their lives.
We're just retaliating. You dangle keys in my face. Next.
Earther treats everybody on their lives.
We're just
Throw the fucking deal with it or
dangle keys in. Dude, if you can stop treating me like a child, I'll stop acting like one. You know damn well I can cook you. Chat agrees.
Wait, do you have something to cry about more, DJ?
Grow up, brother. We can have a conversation, but you're gonna have to. Yep.
More, DJ?
Grow up, brother. He can't have a conversation. He's got to treat me like a child because he'll get cooked if I say, I cooked him with one word, now he's got to act like this. And then project it on all of flat earth. Projecting it on all of flat earth. Do you want to have a debate or be a troll host? Where is the arc from the center to equator? Who measured it and with what? Quit avoiding it. That's why the guy wasn't buying what you're selling.
Thank you.
I was on other people's platforms debating, doing the debate and everything with the flat earth.
He just keeps dropping me. I can't even get a word.
And listen to these words. I come to realize this is basically a borderline cult/religion form.
Yeah.
Projecting your cult beliefs now, brother. You can't part within.
Behavior. I was like for example, they were trying to say, well, how come? Like this is one question. I refuse to sit here and debate about so much science.
When your top scientists say we don't know what it is and we lied to you. Like the Asian guy, bro. And you're still calling us a cult? Grow up. I'll cook you too with science. I got 24K flat earth government documents. I guess the military, all branches are a part of the cult too. That's all you can do? You think that scares us? Like Rashad Jamal? I'm not scared.
That's a 12,000 mile radius. So what would...
Okay, so who measured the arc that you claimed from the center to the equator? And how come you guys avoid the south?
Garden Wall Treaty trespassers, they're part of the dome cleaning team. They go up there and they scrape the bugs off. I mean, like I said, it's crazy.
It was so funny. It was so funny. Like, they asked me one question, and I said, gravity. And I said,
50 theories of gravity, guys. Your own science says it's not real. A list of maybe 10 right here that disagree with it. Some say electrostatics, others say we lied. Google, does NASA refer to it as a solar and lunar disk? I don't last 5 minutes. They divert to dangling keys in my face like a child because one word, I cooked the globe. He was getting to the straight horizon line part of perspective. I don't know. I'll start one.
I'm looking for some flat Earth opposition right now. But,
no, he's not. No, he's not. No, he's
For a long time, have absolutely seen.
Oh, hold on. Let's hear what he says.
Your thing. So be safe, man.
I appreciate it. Thank you for having me on the show.
We're a cult, but we have different beliefs and they don't. They can't part with gravity when their own scientists come on TV and say that we're wrong.
Just because I like you so much. Oh, did you leave? Finally? Good.
Oh, no, you want me?
Jones. Oh, still connecting. I'll disconnect. Go ahead, DJ. We're gonna have an honest conversation. Go ahead. What would you like to talk about?
Yeah, that arc from the equator to the center that you claimed and moved your finger up and down in reference of when you said it. Who measured that?
No arc to the center of the Earth. The arc.
No, from the North Pole to the equator. Yeah, that center.
Yeah, that's
or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Yeah, who measured that?
That's an arc length. I measured it.
No, you didn't.
I did.
What instrument?
What's that?
What instrument?
North Dakota.
Oh, yeah, North Dakota. What kind of instrument?
Yeah. I used a car's odometer.
Oh, so you didn't measure curvature or an arc from the equator to the... Alright, an odometer doesn't do it.
I did, because I measured 3 degrees of latitude change on a longitudinal line.
With an
So
odometer.
if you measure... Yeah. So there's 90 degrees of latitude between the North Pole and the equator, right? And if you measure one of those degrees, and it comes out to like 69 miles and change, you can just multiply it by 90 and get the full distance. We also measure it with planes flying, and latitude and longitude works in reality.
Airplane's not a measuring tool.
Sure, we can measure how much distance a plane has flown.
Cool, but we can't measure curvature or flatness. It's not a measuring tool.
Yeah, it's not about measuring curvature and flatness.
That's the whole argument.
Distance from the North Pole to the equator, and when you measure the distance from the North Pole to the equator, and then you measure the distance around the equator, those two measurements don't comport with any other shape than a sphere.
That's an assumption fallacy. That's an assumption fallacy. You said it was a right angle measurement. Yeah, you're assuming a curve, bro. You're giving me the distance from the equator to the thing, and then you're randomly saying it's curving without actually measuring a curvature. Yeah, it could be the same distance on a flat Earth. You're randomly going, it only computes to one shape.
No,
Yes, sir.
you can't.
Yes, sir.
It doesn't. You're wrong.
That's exactly what you said. We could rewind it. Plane geometry exists.
So, okay, So in this distance, right, to here is 6,215 miles. From the North Pole to the equator is 6,215 miles. The distance around the equator would have to be, in geometry, would have to be 39,000 miles, but it's not.
Why would that be? Why is it any different than a globe? When you can scale things and change the size of that right there. Why wouldn't you be able to just change the size of flat Earth to match the globe? So?
No, because if you changed the size of this, right, so if you made this circle bigger, right, so if we made this circle 39,000 miles around, it wouldn't be the equator anymore on a flat Earth.
Why not?
It would be something down here. It would move the equator down to South America.
No, it wouldn't.
South America.
Nope.
It would, because you can measure.
If we moved everything and scaled everything equally, like if you were to just to put an image of flat Earth into any program, drag the corner and make it.
That would increase this distance.
Exactly. So you just increase or shrink the distance and assume flat Earth has the same distance. Where's the curvature?
No, so you can't.
You said we don't need curvature or flatness measurement. Direct quote.
Hang on, you can't change distances, right? These distances are objective, right? This is the equator, and this is an objective location on a map on the Earth. It's a location. The sun comes directly over the equator on the equinox twice a year. On that day at solar noon, you cast no shadow. The sun's subsolar point on that day is moving at about 1,037 miles an hour tangentially, right? So the subsolar point is moving across the surface of the Earth at about 1,000 miles an hour. If the sun gets back to where it started, back to solar noon the next day, in 24 hours, unless you want to change the length of the day.
Like my clock hand, it does it.
This distance around that circle is 24,000 miles, just under 25,000 miles.
What's your point?
So this line is objectively 25,000 miles long. And that line is objectively 6,000 miles away from the North Pole.
Based on what? If we can't measure,
comport to, based on the measurement of this from this line to this point.
so what measurement? I'm trying to figure out how. Is your whole point that it would be a different measurement, flat versus globe? If so, I don't understand how.
So the distance for this to work, right? So for the equator to be 24,000 miles, the distance from the equator to the North Pole would have to be 4,000 miles.
Why?
Because a radius of a circle has a geometric relationship to it, right? So the radius of a circle is geometrically related to the circumference of that circle by pi. So 2 times pi times the radius, this distance, gives you the distance around the circle. So we have a circle that we have a known distance around of 24,901 miles, right? If we have that distance, you can back into it. Dividing this distance by 2 pi will give you 4,000, or 3950, or whatever, 3952. So that means that this distance from the equator to the North Pole would have to be 3952. It couldn't be 6,000.
Well, I don't know. If I'm not measuring it, then I don't know. It's not a measurement. You said we don't need to measure it.
It's 39. The problem is 4,000 miles only gets you to here.
See, you're assuming.
Where's the other?
I still think you're just strawmanning flat Earth, brother.
Anything.
Yeah, based on what? If you can't measure, you guys claim flat Earth has no measurements, so it's anything that you claim outside of what we claim is a straw man. If in your eyes you can't measure flat Earth and I can't measure the globe, we have to look up direct measurements. You just said we don't need a direct instrument to measure that mile. What's measuring that? A plane's not measuring that. We can't use that to measure distance accurately.
Sure it is.
No.
Sure you can.
Both sides. A bunch of globies would disagree.
When's the last time you flew a plane? When's the last time you flew a plane?
Bro. It's not a measuring tool.
You flew a plane.
It's not. Well, the last time I flew a plane was 2 degrees. The last time I flew a plane, it was 2 degrees up in a straight line. No other measurement. We don't need measurements for curve or flat. You said that earlier. So if you want to go back to planes, any of them.
What plane were you flying?
Yeah, all of them. Next question.
Yeah. Okay, so you've never flown a plane, right? Have you ever been PIC?
Next question. Where's the curvature? The vertical speed is 0. The horizontal speed is going when you're 2 degrees up, because you're not going over a curvature. If you want to talk about the equipment on an airplane, since we don't need a measurement of curve and flatness, I was still looking for the arc from the equator, since you're just strawmanning flat Earth and not showing me a globe measurement of curvature every 3 miles.
This is the arc from the North Pole to the equator.
Oh, I'm looking at it, but you're not showing me what instrument verified that.
The only way to get this, yes, there is a way to verify it. Just measure a small distance of longitude. Are you saying, do you deny there's 90 degrees of longitude, or 90 degrees of latitude?
On a ball, yeah, there's no 90 degree on a ball any direction. What are you talking about? That's a flat horizontal and a straight vertical.
Are there 90 latitudinal degrees between the North Pole and the equator on the flat Earth? We could pull up a Gleason map and check.
I mean, what do you mean 90 degrees?
90 degrees.
There's no 90 degree on a ball. It's a curve.
No, we're talking about...
So it's 90 degrees, not the corner of a square, straight angles.
That's not what the reference of degrees is on a map of latitude and longitude.
They're not horizontal. I think they're horizontal intersecting things. But anyway, go ahead. Like flat graphing paper, plotting places on the map. So that like oh my god.
Two things that are perfectly horizontal would be parallel on flat piece of paper.
No, you could have
No.
If the flat paper is the horizontal, like a flat disc, you're not understanding. The disc is the horizontal.
One would have to be horizontal and one would have to be vertical.
Nope.
To get 90 degrees.
Nope. The paper's flat on the table, buddy. If you put the paper on the wall, that would be true, but no, it's not vertical paper, it's flat paper. Same thing with that disc. You're not understanding that disc, the whole flat Earth is the vertical. I mean the horizontal. So you have a horizontal. Oh my God, horizontal. Like it's not hard. You're denying reality. Like at a traffic intersection. A traffic intersection. Same thing. They're both horizontal. It's a horizontal crossing. Next question. You're denying it. You just denied an obvious thing that we all know. Go to Kansas, Oklahoma, or anywhere that's flat and go to a stop sign. And go to a four-way intersection. Same thing. It's flat. And they intersect. Next question. We're on a Gleason. You can literally draw a flat cross on this Gleason right here. On the water or anywhere. You can put a grid system on top of it because it's a flat disc. And you said that can't happen. Why? That's crazy.
You can put a grid system.
You literally said that's the vertical. No, it's not.
You can put a grid system.
I can literally put an X or a cross in the ground, on flat ground. That's not the vertical. That's horizontal and then another intersecting horizontal. Thanks for playing on that one. Now, where's your curvature? You have a 90-degree angle, then you have a right angle corner of a square, not a ball.
Wait, say that again?
You got a right angle. It should be curving from one point to another, from the, whatever you call it, the North Pole to the equator.
You can have a 90-degree angle on a sphere, right?
No.
Do you know that if you come down like this and turn 90 degrees, that you're going like this? That's a 90-degree angle.
That is not a 90-degree angle. A 90-degree angle is a square. That's a curve.
That is a 90-degree angle.
90-degree angle.
So if you take a ball, right, and you go across the surface of it to the center of the ball, to the hemispheric center, and turn 90 degrees, you'd be going along the equator. You do know that, right? And you know if you go a quarter of it and then turn 90 degrees again, you would come back to where you started. And that's a triangle on a sphere. And all of the angles would be 90 degrees. You know that, right?
No.
This would be 90, this would be 90, and this would be 90.
No, they're all curving it's curving in all directions. That's not 90. So a 90-degree angle uses a small square symbol in math diagrams instead of a curved arc because it's the corner of a square, like my speed square. There's no, you don't understand it. It's plane geometry. There's no curvature. So what's plane geometry? Define plane geometry and where it's used and why it exists. Oh, he's got to Google it. He's never heard of it before.
No, So a triangle on a sphere.
Oh, so he's avoiding the question. Plane geometry. I'll tell the chat.
This is just me teaching you something, right? So all three of these angles are 90 degrees.
Spherical.
Yeah, this is a sphere. These are 90-degree angles on a sphere. That's a triangle.
Spherical geometry. The angles of a triangle do not behave like flat plane geometry. Right here on Google. Then a spherical triangle does not require 90-degree angles to exist. Thanks for playing. It's not 90-degree angle.
Require them, but it doesn't mean it can't be them. No, it doesn't require them. You understand that saying something doesn't require something doesn't mean it can't have it, right? You're saying you can't have a 90-degree angle on a sphere, but you can.
What are you talking about?
Do you understand? Wait a sec. I just want to make sure that you understand.
I want you to understand. How do you have flat plane geometry on a sphere? It just said flat plane geometry on a sphere.
Wait, TJ. In plane geometry,
Second time.
Right? In plane geometry, does one of the angles have to be 90 to be a triangle? Or can you have a triangle that doesn't have a 90-degree angle in it?
There is no 90-degree angle in a triangle. It's plane surveying. What are you talking about? It's a plane. It's a square. It's a right angle measurement. Like the corner of a square. Oh my God. No.
Like in a plane?
3 angles in a triangle.
There could be a 90-degree angle in a triangle.
So a 90-degree angle is not a right angle measurement? Well, then what's a right angle degree?
This is a right angle triangle, and this is 90 degrees, right?
Well, that one could have one. That one could have one 90-degree angle.
Right.
That's a slope. I consider that more like a slope or a ramp than a triangle.
Is this a triangle?
I call that we call that a slope, which is the opposite of flat, or is an anonym to flat in a thesaurus. A slope is not. You Google it. A slope's not flat, but anyway.
I'm asking, is this a triangle?
It could be, but I'm telling you that's a slope with a horizontal and a vertical right angle. Yeah, that's your horizon. It is a yes or no question. Where's the curvature? That's a straight line angle. Where's the curvature?
I'm just trying to understand your depth of geometry. Is this a triangle?
My depth is that's a horizontal and vertical right angle on the earth. And you can have a slope. Why not?
None of that is an answer to this question.
Well, you're avoiding the whole topic. What are you talking about?
Yes or no?
It's a slope. It could be
Is this a triangle?
Could be considered a triangle, but it's a slope. A triangle.
Is this a triangle?
What are we doing here? I asked for who measured the arc, and he said he did with his odometer, and then he ran.
Is this a triangle?
Oh.
Is this a triangle?
So he can't measure the arc from the equator to the center.
Not to the center of what? To the center of the...
Oh, sorry. No, it's to the
North Pole.
Whatever you call it up there.
It's not the arc to the center. It's from the North Pole to the equator.
Your odometer is not measure. You don't measure the topography of the Earth with your odometer. So why would you measure Earth curve? You said you measured Earth curve. That you measured the arc with your odometer.
No one claimed to measure topography. I don't know where you got that.
Well, I'm assuming that. Oh, well, yeah. Well, it's a straw man fallacy. Well, what kind of fallacy is it when you say your odometer is measuring arc every 3 miles or every degree? So whatever it is, 1 degree every 6 miles. I don't care. That's stupid. That's just as stupid. Your odometer in.
So how can you argue against an argument you don't even know?
So it's 8 inches per mile squares, or 1 degree every 69 miles. It's not.
So you don't understand.
So now you're just trying to get me a gotcha. No, where's your measurement? How does an odometer, 4th time, measure a curve of the Earth or an arc every? Yeah, you just said that.
Because it measures distance across the surface of the Earth, right? And if you measure the distance across the surface of the Earth, the only geometric shape that the measurements
straw man fallacy.
The equator and the distance
straw man fallacy. Assumption fallacy. No, it's an assumption. You're assuming the only shape it would be based on no evidence. What are you talking about? The odometer works in all directions.
Here. Hang on.
It works uphill and it works downhill. Thanks for playing.
No one said anything about hills, sweetie.
Yeah, Kansas don't have hills for most of it.
I want you to do something. Okay, this is some.
That was good.
Take 6,215.
Oh, now he diverts again.
And take 24,901 as a circumference, and tell me what other geometric shape other than a sphere that.
You're going what other shape? What are you talking about?
Let me know when you can come up with another geometric
Assumption
shape
fallacy.
you comport with. It's not an assumption. Just let me know.
How does that prove curve or sphere? It could be the same distance on both. Sorry, thanks.
We'll talk about when.
See, look, he's getting cooked. Why is he saying that, bro? Are you a robot, sir? I'm telling you, that's just a number that could work on flat or a curve. You're not measuring curve with that number.
Okay,
and now you're trying to get a gotcha like you're about to drop me and leave me on that.
Make this work. Make this work.
Yeah, by assuming it's a flat instead of round. The same thing you're doing.
So draw this out on a flat plane for me, okay?
Okay, I'll just scale my flat plane to that size. That's all I gotta do.
Scale it to whatever size you'd like.
Right.
Okay?
Scale your globe to whatever size. It don't make straight lines bend.
Okay. I want you to. So you made a claim here, right? You've made a positive claim that you can make this work geometrically. So I want you to draw me a circle with.
You made a positive claim that it already works without a measurement of curvature. You're assuming it would only work on a sphere. The AI even just now agrees. He's assuming. He's not measuring curve with that. He's assuming it could work on both. That's what it said.
So you made a
claim. So where's the measurement of curvature for that then?
So you made a claim.
Who measured the sphere? Who measured the sphere?
It's getting a little unnerving.
Well, you're getting cooked. You're getting deep fried. Who measured the sphere? I don't play games.
I'm not. It's okay. So DJ.
So you're not measuring it? Well, then who is? You can't assume it's around and that it only works when it's a distance. It's a distance. It would work on either or. Most globers agree, so you don't understand. Distance isn't a horizontal or vertical measurement. It doesn't measure pitch. It doesn't measure altitude. What are you talking about?
Okay, so you made a claim, right? And your claim was that you can make a circle.
Pitch is altitude.
A circumference of 24. You can make a circle that has a circumference of 24,901 and a radius of 6,200.
I can make a circle 24,901, right? And circumference at its equator. Boom. It says yes. If I scaled it out right, you're exactly right. It's X. I can do that.
Wait. Hang on a sec. What does this say? Can you make a circle that has a circumference of 24,901 and a radius of 6,215?
Yeah. Hang on. Let me just get my spelling right. Yeah. All you have to do is choose what part to keep the measurement the same, because a flat circle is flat and a globe's curved. You can't have straight line distance.
No.
Let's see. What does it say? In the middle of the distance around the outside at the same time.
No. Bring up and show this question. Can you have a circle that has a circumference of 24,901 and a radius of 6,215? Type that into chat. Turn on your camera. Don't be scared.
Oh, no, it's not. Okay, don't be scared.
No. No, go ahead. Come on.
Yeah.
Turn your camera on. Okay, go ahead. Now go to the top, and what did you type in?
I literally just said, I meant to say can I, and it put I can. It corrected me. Make a flat circle, match a globe, equator, hypothetical, like the equator thing, circumference. And I already put it.
No.
And then before that, I said the equator, I can make a circle 24,901, right, at the circumference in the equator part of it. Yeah, it's the actual circumference at the equator.
No.
And then your baseline equator circle, weird. And then, so.
No.
That's what I put so far.
Stop saying you know. Show what it says. Okay. You have to change one of the distances.
Why do you have to change
the distance around? Because you can't. Okay, so because you can't scale that. So let's go to ChatGPT and we'll type in words that actually mean sense or make sense, because you can't even spell, which is.
Well, it's because I don't care.
Okay. Can you have a circle that has circumference.
Alright, so all you need is the azimuthal equidistant project. Same
And
thing.
radius of 6,215.
Yeah, so it's distance to the equator. They're the same. Let's see.
Oh wait, so you have to change the radius.
Yeah, so this says right here, distance to the equator on the scale would be exactly the same if you tried to scale it out.
No, it doesn't say that.
Yeah, it says that the circumference would be like, assumes the circumference would be longer, but I don't know how you would prove that.
Oh yeah, it would make the circumference longer. It would make the circumference 39,000, right?
Oh, that's what it's claiming, but
there you
still,
go,
your right angle
39,000. Wait a
measurement.
second.
But the initial
Wait a
argument,
second.
your initial argument was
that you would have to
equator.
change- Wait. I said you. Wait a second. I said you would have to change one of the distances. You said no. You can just scale those distances.
Distance to the equator would be the same. That's what the initial claim was. Where's the arc?
with the distance around the equator changing by 14,000 miles. Is that what it says? Don't lie. Does it say you have to change the distance around the equator by 14,000 miles?
Longer.
Yeah, by.
But this is what we was talking
14,000
about.
miles. So we have to.
That's
so
an
we have to
assumption.
make the
Why would you have to
equator
change it?
14,000 miles longer.
Why would you have to?
Because geometry.
No, bro, you're
That's
assuming
why,
you're throwing
DJ.
something into geometry.
No,
Because if you
there's
stretched
no
it out and
assumption
scaled
here,
it,
DJ.
it would be the same distance.
DJ, you
That's what I'm
just-
saying. It's wrong.
Just debunked yourself.
No, I didn't. I'm denying what it says because that's wrong. You can't just assume. Yeah, but here's why. Here's why. Here's why. Because you can't assume some. Yes. Yes, I denied that specific part. No, I was talking about the distance to equator. This is what the initial argument was, the distance to the equator. Right here. That's what you said. The distance to the equator from the center has an arc, and then it would be different. You said it would be different. It says the same. That's what I was talking about. Then you went on to this part because it said it's different. I brought it up that the equator circumference would be different, and that's assuming too. But if you're scaling things to match, you're only assuming it would be different. Anything you scale to match is assumed to match. That's stupid. Unless, it's a flat line versus a curve. They could be the same distance. What are you talking about? You can scale that to the same distance. If a flat line can make a circle, right? If flat lines, allegedly, according to you guys, make circles, and these short distance flat earth measurements can be put together for one a curve, well then therefore they can both be, it could be flat or it could be round and still be the same number. That's wrong. We need an actual measurement for distance with something to prove that, like to measure 14,000.
DJ. So
Thanks for playing.
This background is you in particular, and there's no thanks for playing. You debunked yourself live
Nope.
in 4K.
Nope, I kicked you 4 times and you diverted and you treated me like a child at the beginning.
Either you change the distance from the equator to the North Pole, or you change the distance around the equator.
Why?
You cannot scale because of geometry. And
That's not an answer. That's a cop-out answer. Describe because of geometry. Describe because of geometry. What part? No, I like the answer it gave me. Yeah, the first answer to the actual question.
I'm going to ignore this answer from ChatGPT.
Yeah, because how do you prove that?
What it said.
Okay, let's ask it. How are we assuming it would be larger on FE? How do you know or measure that? Come on. Look.
Because of geometry, it's going to say. Because there's a geometric relationship between the radius of something and the distance around something.
It wouldn't.
Okay, DJ. Well, this was fun. I'm still going to wait for you to come up with a circle that has a circumference of 24,901 and a radius of 6,215.
Right here, you're completely right. You can choose to keep the equator 24,901.
Thanks for playing.
Troll, right here, my next response. It says you can choose to keep an equator 24901 on a flat circle. Quit assuming it would be bigger. You can make it the same size. You're cooked. Want to see it?
Yes, you can choose to keep the radius 24901, but then you're going to have to change or this.
No, you're not going to have to change anything. You're just injecting that in like Barron does curvature correction. Word salad. Cook this.
Word salad, yeah. Yeah, the geometric relationship between the radius.
The assumption and injecting of something that can be the same. So he injecting assumption. You automatically have to change equator or distance to equator from North Pole to match. That's assumption.
The spiritual part?
Maybe straw
How will
man.
the spirit change the geometric relationship between the... Okay, Fred, now we're going to do some educating. We're going to try to learn.
No, forcing
Get scared.
denial on
Now,
globe model.
you claim
Globe says it needs
cherry-picked facts that these 16 flights prove that the Earth is flat.
wouldn't
Now, you
work
used
on
this
flat
moron
because
flight path,
LOL.
which
Because
is true. You wouldn't want to land in Alaska if
it
that's where you had an
has to
emergency in the middle of
be
that flight path
bigger
that he's pointing to
on flat.
if you were flying that path.
Trust me,
Unfortunately,
bro. Any
Here we
net
go, Fred.
measurements
that's the flight path that those
drops
planes
me.
actually take in objective reality, not delusional psychosis.
Ask
And
him
look at that.
and
They
measure.
fly over the
He
Aleutian
said
Islands, which is
drops
part
me
of, oh,
in
that's right, Alaska. Say it with me, Alaska.
odometer in Montana
Okay, Fred, now we're gonna do
measures
some
his
educating.
cleaned
We're going to try to learn. I'll hold your hand the whole way.
on
Don't
North
get scared.
Pole to equator. He
You
treats us
your
like
many cherry-picked facts.
children.
These 16 flights prove that the Earth is flat. Now you used this
Oh,
moron's flight path, which is true. You wouldn't want to land in Alaska if that's where you had an emergency. But the fact that he couldn't grasp that concept, and then he even brought ChatGPT up to debunk him, and he's like,
no, you didn't let me finish. You got cooked. You can have the same on a flat circle. He literally diverted from North Pole to the equator to the equator. After I told him the equator is the one you're assuming should be larger. It just same thread just now described how to make that model. You absolutely all you guys have is a fake gotcha. Literally, it says you can absolutely create that model. Let's map it out. Map it out step by step where nothing changes. Yeah.
That picture looks better than any globe picture I ever seen. Show us a better picture of the flat Earth, Montrez. What does it look
That
like?
is crazy, bro. He got cooked. He wouldn't let me cook him. I just didn't know how to explain it. That he was describing. See if we're on the same. Well, you're not even reading my chat thread, are you? You're on the wrong deal here.
Your many cherry-picked facts that these 16 flakes prove that the Earth is flat. Now, you used this moron's flight path, which is true. You wouldn't want to land in Alaska if that's where you had an emergency.
Alright, so, latitude? Oh, see, look. Yeah, so this guy's getting stupid. He's measuring a 90-degree angle from the center. Like, you know, on a celestial sphere. We'll find somebody else, or I'll start mine. But look. Yeah, and you could have your vertical plumb. That's not your celestial. No Stranger Things, globe. Oh, that one's sideways. It's not the same. It's sideways. It should be straight, but yeah, there it is. Your celestial dome. Straight up here, and straight out here, and straight down here are right angle measurements. But you have a problem when you're measuring a right angle, depending on how you're doing it. Actually, you know, on a ball from the center, you can do it. So let's cook this guy. I see no right angle, nothing, except from the center right here. Now that, my good friends, is not the same right angle that I'm asking for here. Or maybe a right angle, but I mean, you know what I'm saying. Is that not your 90? Like the corner of a square or the letter L. It's an intersection. And I just said that. You can have intersections on a flat road, and he cried.
So, what other continents are you...
Host denied flat intersecting lines like an intersection stoplight. By the way, and he's laughing at me. Your dumbass right angle is from the center, which we've only got 7 miles deep. If you had the patience, I could cook you. The definition of a 90-degree angle, it tells you it forms a perfect perpendicular intersection, like the corner of a square. Since we can't measure the core of the Earth, how about we focus on the water that's a 90-degree from vertical plumb? Vertical plumb has nothing to do with the underground. This is a surface level argument only, and you guys avoid the surface.
1972. And this...
You guys avoid the surface for the sky and the unprovable core. So, ask Google AI if you can scale out a working model on a flat map with plane geometry, plane trigonometry, plane surveying. Oh, and wouldn't you know, there's plane geography too. Canada to Mexico, no curvature. That's the Central Plains. Since his odometer is not proving water to bend every 3 miles, all of the ocean and half of the sea floor flat. Thanks for playing and have a good night. I gotta get him in the comments. I wasn't crashing. He was just trying to dance around and talk over me and treat me like a child. And drop me. And get a gotcha moment. You don't know what that means.
If I put a ball, right, and I'm taking a picture of you, and then I'm taking a picture of you and the sun is behind me.
Then he had to go get bald ass, what was it, Fuzzy Bear, had no hair. So it's not why he called himself Fuzzy Bear when he ain't got no hair. When he ain't got no hair up there. Got you looking like a bowling ball.
Along with your many cherry-picked facts that
I can't stand his voice. I can't. Next.
You can read it if you want to, Ozzy.
Got you looking like a bowling ball. In a bag of bow. A bag of bow. Got you looking like a... I'm going to start one.
She needs it.
Do you have live, laugh, love cursive in your apartment?
Nah, man, my apartment's black as shit. just so if my family comes, I'm like, no, she's a good one. Like that's
Yeah.
So,
What do you have in your apartment that makes it black as shit?
I can't think of the name of the
Other people's stuff?
But I will say, I don't know if you can tell by looking at me, I do have
That
family
was
members
that
with Down syndrome.
DR3. I don't know. Okay.
It almost got me. I dodged it, but
There's
it nicked me.
You can like,
Daywalker myself.
it's like we're playing some LARP game as a kid in school,
It's
and
funny
it's
when you
like,
bring up Down syndrome,
is
you
this
can always tell
Yu-Gi-Oh,
who's
is
never
this
been around it in
Pokemon,
their
we're
lives.
battling
You know what
right
I mean?
now.
Like if I tell people, if I'm like, yeah, I
World
have
of
family
Warcraft,
members
you
with
know,
Down
it's
syndrome,
like,
people that have never been around it are always
he's throwing out terms,
Like-
he's throwing out all these theoretical terms and trying to find the most smart and sciencey sounding word that I might not know what it means, and he goes, you don't know what it means? I got you, bye. That gets old. Come on, folks. We're out here really trying to have a conversation to prove that this guy's a troll. Host is I don't know what that guy said. You seen it. Or no, maybe I said it. Hopefully you heard me say it. I said it twice, maybe 3 times, that the chat agreed. So anyway, we'll start one. And then I'm usually able to show it by going into my profile here. Oh yeah, I'm supposed to show you this. I'm sorry. All right. So we're controlling the variables, just so you know that he was cooked, in order to make this work, and that would be what he's doing, his argument. That'd be his last straw argument left, when that's what he's doing entirely, is manipulating the variables of flat Earth to not match on his own, because his religious belief, it's like, oh, the Muslims are worse, the Muslims are raping and marrying. No, they're not. Maybe a few versions of it where they intermingle with each other, the hotties, I don't know, but no, they're not. Most of them know they're not. It's the same. It's like the same thing here. It's like, you know, you got a straw man, flat Earth, assumption fallacy, begging the question, affirming the consequence, all at the same time. You got to assume this arc to exist, and he's going to bring up. You can have 90-degree angles on a sphere from the unprovable core of the Earth, yes, sir, but you can't have it on the surface of the water. I don't know. I thought it was a horizontal, vertical. Now it's latitude and longitude. Yeah, they intersect. So the flat, I have to do it like this for evidence. Line intersect axis wise. X and what other, like stoplight intersection in the planes. LOL, he denied you can have intersecting lines on flat disk, forgetting his flat graphing paper, 6th grade. Usually around the time people start that 5th to 7th grade, like, That's a hilarious and total unforced area on this board, denying that lines can intersect 90 degrees on a flat surface. Completely forgets basic 6th grade math. Fuck! I almost want to go back and tell them. We'll just put the container thing up for now. I almost want to go back and tell them that a 90-degree angle flat surface became, lacking. Your paper example, lay this out like a stoplight, grid or a stoplight intersection on the flat disk model. Here's exactly how so it's the X and Y. That's what I said in my head, the Y. But I didn't want to say the wrong one, and then him go, but that's exactly what I was saying. Instead of line, I might have mumbled it. We use straight grid lines, just like standard graph paper. Why not? Just curving paper. No spherical graphing paper yet. Just want to type too fast without looking. Scroll back up though. There it is. A blank globe grid. Not a like a square or the letter L on sphere, right? Nigga, it's gonna tell you. If you don't eat a horizontal day in a flat line, you cannot 200 degrees intersection looks like clean. No. Horizon can't be datum on Alright, anyone want to come up? Flat paper is wrong for a globe. 100% spawns, completely small, so flat paper. What? This cannot be flat horizontal datum, and the x-axis cannot be a flat line. Here's exactly how you trapped him. So yeah, that's what I was going to get to. Can't be a flat line. But he wanted to run. So if y'all want to come up, come on. But that's crazy. They claim the flat paper math is wrong because you can't flatten the paper math. But then, to prove their globe measurements, they turn right around and use a flat x-axis. Yeah. What? What is that? What the fuck? That's why he had to troll and treat me like a kid and drop me. But anyway, let's see if it'll do it. Maybe it won't give me what the fuck? That's why he had to troll and treat me like a kid and drop me. But anyway, let's see if it'll do it. Maybe it won't give me the banner. And I'll mute up. Muting up here and trying to get the TikTok audio to... I think we can leave it zoomed in a little bit. Alright, folks. Start cooked. Yeah, so he just got cooked. If anybody wants to parrot the Globey, you guys, he was being mocked at first by even a globe or two in the chat for just dancing around and avoiding. He denied multiple things. He denied linear perspective. He denied outright. It seemed like he denied intersecting lines on a flat plane. So every stoplight in Kansas isn't real, according to DR3T, whatever the fuck his name is. Don't care. He's live right now. So, Western Oklahoma, all the flat intersecting lines that you draw all the time on, that exist everywhere on all parts of your flat graphing paper. You say, oh, it's not a flat x-axis, it curves, but we use flat graphing paper incorrectly to reference it and to measure things and to equivalate distance. But I think we need to also account for the vertical pitch of the x-axis, and we're not doing that. So anyway, if y'all want to come up, prove y'all's globe religion. I just cooked him. He made a claim, a positive one, of being able to measure the curve and the arc that is from the equator right to the North Pole with his odometer in Montana. That was the first thing. Was he just randomly assuming the arc? See it on my little globe toy? The arc here to here? That would just straw man the flat earth or whatever, or assumption, I don't care. Whatever you want to call it. But he just assumes that it would have to change. And literally, you can scale it down to match. And you can assume, the same as you're assuming, that it's the same. You're assuming it's not. I'm assuming it is. Google says it can be, that it doesn't need to be bigger. The globe claims that it would need to be bigger, is what Google said. So anyway, he got cooked. Barron is pretty much indirectly admitting and showing you every day he does it. And finally came clean partially and said that you have to assume the instrument is wrong 90% of the time. Okay, so now you admit you're injecting curvature. You can't say that directly. You still crashed out in the same week or day or two saying it is the part of the measurement. You don't know what you're talking about. No, you assume the measurement's wrong within the same 48 hours or whatever, Barron, that the measurement is wrong, right, 90% of the time. So your correction is no longer a part of the measurement. How come you can call it curvature correction, the curvature calculation stage, but you won't agree line of sight error is the 90% wrong, or wrong 90% of the time, and you won't agree and concede that, like, it's not at least that your curvature injection is not a property of that instrument's measurement that you have to correct for. He can't say those words, that he's injecting curvature afterwards and denying the instrument. That's fine. So let's throw theodolite away, or just use it for looks, and go actually find an instrument. I cook Barron every which way, and I really want to start over and have an actual formal YouTube debate one day, maybe with some money, 20, 50, 100 racks, whatever. But the point is, I've cooked every argument, bro. Oh, the horizon dropped at the beach, culmination error. We didn't know what was going on. I read a few manuals, culmination error, and I ain't heard from you in a while. You're starting to come back around and say you cooked me. No, culmination. There's no drop. You're on a mountain, and one mountain's lower than the other, but not angled, right? You guys literally, bro, a mountain could have a different elevation than another one. So the mountain thing's cooked. And then you Google the flats, the Bonneville flat thing. It's literally, he's at the end of one of the Winding Star Hills, or whatever it's called. And right there where that little bit of curve, and it's also atmospheric conditions, makes things appear to have distortion, wiggle, or refraction, whatever. I don't remember. I looked it up. There's locally known atmospheric conditions that make things look a lot more bent up while doing linear perspective ramping up sometimes of the year. So if anybody got proof for a globe, I'll make a positive claim. Every 24 hours sun at the poles until the globe. There's no 24, dude, we can't explain it. We don't need it. What's a 24-hour sun do? Right now, it's claimed to be on both models. And there's Joe Henry's model, and then there's your guys' bullcrap footage that they didn't fully release from one group. That there was no argument for a 24-hour sun throughout this thing until those guys come along. Nowhere near a final experiment. Barron, whoever else he wants, that's a surveyor. Mike Snow, me, and 2 other flat earthers would be a final experiment. But he's injecting curvature post-measurement. So how does the sky and how does the core or whatever's under the ground measure the surface? So D3 had to go in a right angle on a sphere underground, of course, but not on the surface. That's not the horizontal. I'm sorry, that's not the latitude and longitude. You don't have right angle, except each point where you're at, where you're the intersecting point. If that makes sense. So he denied street lights. He denied stoplights. I might have to go sit outside, but we're low on battery, I think. You move over here. But yeah, he denied intersecting lines on a flat surface. So Kansas, look out. You guys don't have intersections. 4-way stops. Because he assumes D3 square, whatever, D3R assumes that it couldn't happen, but yet Kansas is measured to have flat intersections. A lot of towns have these. It's not just Kansas, folks. Don't assume things. You can make a positive claim. What do you say? See, that's an assumption straw man. If you can't measure flat Earth and you won't even look at it, how can you assume? How are you going to assume that something couldn't work on it? If we measure half the seafloor flat, all the ocean has been measured sea level 19 years at a time to not have any arc or higher point in the center. Canada to Mexico flat, Australia flat, most of it, if not the whole. One into another. At parts, left to right, let's see. You got all these plains and salt flats, but yet the 24-hour sun would happen on a flat Earth, not straw man. Fallacy. Not an assumption. Flat Earth wouldn't work because of this. Flat Earth would have to work like this. If the Earth was flat, this would need to happen. That shit's old, bro. 5 years ago it was funny. But if you're still doing that, if you're still strawmanning flat Earth in 2026, then you're like 5% or less. 1%, I would argue. Possibly. 24,000 military and government flat Earth documents, all branches, even CIA and other stuff, measuring the light reflecting off the firmament from the sun beneath it, making an arc. But just go to DTIC and type in flat Earth, 20,000 results, because they keep removing some over time of everything that they have listed there is 20,000 results mentioning flat Earth, so you know there's more. That's public. It's not the classified stuff. So this is public. Again, it's not classified. So if it was classified but actually flat, and there wasn't no unclassified, but it's declassified, and that's the crazy thing that you guys are still trolling. You're still in this stockyard syndrome, denial, or whatever it is. You can't part with any part of your religion. We see the sun and the moon above us. So Globers like McGlobeface 3 years ago parted with that we're cause of the phase, and they outright denied that it ever was a claim, and made a straw man, if you whatever you want to call it, version of how the sun and the moon work without the globe Earth being in between to cause the phase. And I don't understand. So it's no longer responsible for the phases. We wouldn't see the phases because we're the object creating it. We wouldn't always see the phases when we do. So that's my point. And then you got the sun out, going past it, directly across it. Yet, and it's a fingernail moon, new moon. The sun and the moon are like the closest to each other, but yet this thing is supposed to be the reflection of the sun. So naturally, if it's the closest, it should be the least obstructed by anything. Therefore, there should be no fingernail moon. Should be a fully illuminated circle looking object. Because, you can't see, you can't look up at something on the wall or in the sky. You'll see a circle. If it's all the same side, right, you'll see a circle on the concave side of a bowl, on the other side of a bowl that's curved, on a sphere or a disc. So what the fuck? We're not measuring curvature, folks. If anybody wants to come prove their religion, or you have to just gravity, then that's fine. 50 theories of gravity. Who isolated gravity? The Cavendish experiment, in his own words, description of that experiment here, I am doing this experiment to measure the density of the earth, not gravity. And gravity is literally the root word gravitas, or the Greek word, which, words just completely have backwards definition due to just evolution, time, and just assuming things get bigger and bigger and bigger until the physics just flip in reverse. But anyway, gravitas is defined as weight, the heaviness or the amount of mass inside an object. The reason that, the reason that a scale exists and they make you get on one at a doctor's office is because there's people overweight and what they call underweight, folks. And the overweight people are going to get around a lot slower and they're going to drop a lot heavier and create a bigger splash in the pool. You have to agree. Cannonball! But you guys don't even want to, you deny what. So anyway, weight is why things fall to the ground. Naturally, if you just throw a paper airplane or you throw a napkin, I don't think it's falling the same as me. It'll float around, hitting the air beneath it. This resistance on the way down, a piece of paper, a feather, a dandelion. Oh, the stem will drop, of course. I don't know about this, but this is what's wild. Is that gravity is selective. It's this pulling force. Pulling is normally described pulling everything equally, the water and all that, but it's not pulling everything equally. Because we can name a list of things that are immune to gravity. Yet they're still here in the atmosphere, but they're just slightly, they just go slightly up or they go to the top and stop and flatten out, but yet never past a point. And so it's like, what the fuck? Prove the government said this. It's declassified, 24,000. You can Google it. Like I said, enough to get somebody. Let's see here. So this is not Google. This is not Yandex. This is dtic.mil. You see the URL at the top. And I can show you in another search, because I don't have the original top screenshot where I looked for flat earth sun. And anything solar or sun, solar comes up too when you type in sun with the word flat earth inside or flat. But yeah, a lot of it's flat earth. That one's not. The other one, it's all flat earth. You can go back. But it doesn't show you the logo. The Department of War is what it's called now. But there you go. A ground disc plane. A disc ground plane. But DR3 denied that it's a disc based on his assumption fallacy. Come in the box. I'm about to go back outside when we get some battery on here. But come in the box. What's your see? Look, they never respond. Prove the government said it. You're a troll. And then you show them the multiple documents we can go through. The 20,000 or it's just that 600 because it cuts off the 20. It's 20,600. I'll have to switch layouts to show you that or something. Because it's cutting off parts of. But the point is, they never can respond. They have to run and avoid. Look, whoa! I can't see it. No. Please, I would love a response, an honest response to it. Because this is something that shouldn't exist on your model. Because it doesn't exist according to you, just like anti-Narnia, like type effect. Like, flat Earth's not real, but it looks flat. Plane surveying measures it flat. The government's public about it. Some of them are geodesy Coast Guard manuals talking about the lack of curvature. All the surveying manuals say the curvature is not directly measured, it's injected after for most surveying applications, if not all. We measure directly and assume a flat baseline off those measurements. And then you got people saying, I'm a surveyor. I'm one of the few that actually injects curvature every day. He knows he's not doing that on the job. Let's put that on the thing too. I want to ask the AI real quick. Real quick. So, Notepad. New AI chat from the other day, by the way. That's not the same one where I got all the bear and stuff. But look, with his calculator design. Avoiding what line? And finally saying we have 90% of the time. Other surveyors laugh. So how do I cook him? He's not using this post-measurement injection of curvature in real-world applications. Most other surveyors laugh and say this. Come in the box. Alright, well. What's good?
Hey, man.
Well, not much. I'm in the yeah, one day.
I found this interesting segment of text from your very top article there. Propagation. Yeah. It's that interesting last sentence that says approximation used. I can't read now because of my name.
Localized, right? Is that the word you're stuck on?
If you'd like to, let's display this big box so we can read it together.
You're stuck on localized. I can read it. Localized or regional wave propagation when Earth's curvature is. Is that the word you're stuck at?
Yeah, that last sentence, like the Earth curvature.
So if a flat line exists locally,
yeah, but
everywhere, and they're locally flat
this particular article that you're trying to point out, they don't account for the curvature of the Earth to make it simpler.
What? That's stupid.
Well, that's what it says that it actually does.
That's stupid. You don't.
Well, you're saying that the military.
It looks like the AI overview, but anyway, what document?
Yeah, that top document, propagation of electromagnetic fields over flat Earth.
Okay. Yeah, it simplifies reality because it's flat. What's your point? Where does it say it simplifies a globe into assuming it's flat, which is delusional?
It's the last, paragraph, last sentence.
It just says approximation is localized.
Yeah. Can you make it a little bit bigger so we can read it together?
You know what localized mean? That's not curvature or flat. So
yeah, can we utilize the big screen to read it together?
I guess.
That'd be great. Thank.
Gotta change layouts, I guess. Hold on a second. What rolling off? There we go. Does that work? Or do I need to
Yeah, that works. That works. In these technical contexts, flat Earth is a standard mathematical boundary approximation used for localized or regional wave propagation where Earth's curvature is negligible.
Yeah, plane wave propagation with the radial horizon. Yeah, there's no curvature.
Right? So they're saying that if it's localized and small enough, you don't have to account for Earth's curvature.
Yeah, but if it's, what do you mean? Why?
Because the amount of curvature in a very small area,
Well,
is
don't have
negligible.
Small areas on a globe.
Yes,
No.
right. Yes. So if it's small enough, you don't have to account for Earth's curvature, which is omnipresent.
Yeah, but you got this problem.
So there you go. The Earth is
from
curved.
Canada to Mexico.
Right,
That's not small.
I thank you for giving me another example of Earth's curvature.
That's the flat central plains. Thanks for playing. You don't just get to assume it's curvature. So like I asked TR3, what's measuring this arc, this curvature that the Texas State University denied from Canada to Mexico?
Good. There you go. It says Earth's curvature.
So you can't provide a measurement of it since Texas State said it was flat and no.
Well, USGS measures Earth's curvature all the
No,
time.
it doesn't.
Yeah, it does.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, it does. There's an entire division of the USGS that does geodetic surveying. And geodesy. Are they not a real?
Literal geodesy documents from the Coast Guard saying it's not a property of the measurement.
Is the USGS wrong?
Yeah, another classic textbook phrase completely out of context. So,
Is the USGS and the geodesy that they do wrong?
No, does it state that a curvature is not a property of the measurement and geodesy manuals or not?
And what about the USGS Landsat satellites that we get all of our mapping and aerial, images from? Our Landsat images.
Cool.
Are they inaccurate and wrong as well? Because the Earth is flat, or what?
We're all treating it as a flat plane. Plane surveying, plane geometry. What are you talking about?
Geodetic surveying and Landsat imagery?
The official manuals, bro. Yeah, it tells you.
I mean, there are whole divisions, the thousands of people that do this.
Yeah, I know. Plane
Plus
surveying.
plus all the commercial companies.
Tons of flat Earth plane surveyors. Exactly.
Right?
USGS
Esri
manuals literally state that they assume the Earth is a flat plane for standard field measurements. What are you talking about?
Is that geodetic
If
survey?
you don't measure a curve, you said
They do.
USGS at first. I'll get to geodesy.
Yeah, USGS measures the curve, man.
They design everything on a flat baseline. So
USGS measures the
assumption
curve.
fallacy. Where's your measurement of curvature?
Yeah, USGS measures the curve every single
It
day.
just says right here they don't. They assume a flat.
Where does it say it?
For standard field measurements, because we're measuring
show me
angles.
a
Barron, sir, is injecting curvature post measurement, and he was honest about it finally and crashed out and admitted it and said that his instrument, we assume that the Adelaite's wrong 90% of the time. So don't give me on we measure right here, the manual itself. We're not measuring it. It's a flat plane. That's not, but the measurement is a flat baseline measurement that we're getting, a flat constant. So that's why they assume that. So what part of USGS is measuring a globe? Why would they assume it's flat measured? Or why are they saying the measurements are flat, if it's assumed to be round? And what part of the manual says that? It's round.
Which manual are you referencing?
The USD? What?
Which manual are you referencing? So I can go look at the manual.
It's on USDA.
Not the USDA, the USGS, US Geological Survey.
Yeah, Yeah, I got it right here.
Okay, which manual is it?
The USDA and Government Engineering Field Manual right here. The federal. There's the first one. Federal Engineering Field Handbook.
Can you show me the?
Surveying 650.0100.
Can you show me like so I can screen capture it? Can you show me the cover or the title so I can screen capture it and reference it?
Hold on, my thing reset. So here we go. The Federal Engineering Field Manual is what I was looking for, which is,
Federal Engineering Field Manual?
yeah, the USDA. So that's the first one. The law. Plane surveying assumes the Earth is flat. All elevations are measured from a flat surface.
That's a USGS manual.
We got the National Geodetic Survey and USGS reference from NOAA, the source document, NOAA Geodetic Glossary, official definition of plane surveying, the law. Many techniques. Let me get this one. I'm not having to yell. Hang on. Get this closer. The law, many techniques, instrumentation, and theory which does not require knowledge of the Earth's curvature.
Okay. Can you just show me the title of the document so I can reference it?
The first one is Federal Engineering Manual from the USDA. The second is the National Geodetic Survey and USGS reference from NOAA.
Can you show me the title so I can screen capture it?
I guess.
Perfect. Thank you.
Uh-oh. Flip that. There we go. Actually, it's no geodetic glossary, but I got a bunch of geodetic manuals.
So that's USDA and NOAA.
That's the first. Oh, sorry. Did I screw it up right when you did that?
USGS.
Oh, and then the State Plane Coordinate System Manual. Let's see. National Geodetic Surveying Spectacle Publication number 235. Project a survey onto a flat map and accurately represent the surface of the Earth in the least distorted way. Now see, proves the actual mapping grids used by the USGS are built using flat X and Y axis, not 3D sphere path. Now, just before I started this live, 10 minutes ago, before I started this live, DR3 denied flat lines can intersect, or that there's intersecting flat lines, like Kansas stoplight in Kansas town. Anyway, but yeah, that's what's going on. That book describes it. You got the Civil Engineering Data Handbook, Department of Transportation manuals. The list goes on.
Why don't you just go to usgs.gov? They even have training courses that you can take.
Cool story, bro. Information's free. It's public.
Yeah, it's free. You can take courses. It's free.
Right, but that's not a measurement. So,
well, you can access all the free data
too. The y-axis is treated as flat
measurements
in USGS. Now, you got anything else?
Don't you also have altitude in the datum set?
The U.S. Army War Department Manual. Here's another one. Source document. The Department Field Manual for military mapping.
We're not going to have like a good faith discussion here. So,
well, you asked for manuals, and I'm giving them to you, and you're just saying like take a course on geodetic survey or USGS.org has a course.
No, there's just you can learn about all of these things. The two different components of land surveying. Yes, there's plane surveying and there's geodetic surveying.
Geodetic surveying, which I just gave you, is still a flat plane. What are you talking about?
It is not. It is not.
Oh my God.
Look it up right now. It's geodetic surveying based on a flat surface.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Even when you claim you're doing high-level geodetic surveying, the actual math still forces the X and Y axis to be completely flat. Caught in a major double standard. Here's exactly how to expose it. The projected
Do they
coordinate
use
system
satellites?
trap. When geodetic surveyors take measurements over large areas, they don't do math on a 3D ball. They can. What are you talking about?
Do they use satellites to do it?
The X and Y is still flat on geodetic.
Do they use satellites to do geodetics over large areas?
What's your point? They still say the X and Y axis, they treat it as flat. Logical fallacy. If the whole thing's curving equally, we don't treat the whole thing as a flat. So,
Whatever.
yes.
But enjoy your evening, man.
You too. Anyone else want to try? The X and Y axis is still flat according to survey the USGS manuals. Direct quotes. They copy each other because on most of the surface, you guys copy each other on everything. What are you talking about? You can't part with gravity. You can't part with, well, okay, the only thing you did part with, and only a few of you did, like globe meant globe phase, was that the phases were caused by the Earth being in between. And he made some new claim how that would work 3 years ago. Other than that, yeah, only things we don't agree on, which we disagree on a lot, is the sky and what's underneath the surface. We don't need to have difference of opinions. This isn't a political debate. This is science. So yeah, when it comes to the surface, it's going to be the same thing. And it's going to say he's not going to provide a measurement. He's just going to repeat his bald belief science. And geodesics, even, again, let's put it on screen in case you're watching, good sir. And that's all y'all can do. But exactly here, look. If one second, because it's not going to show it. We're going to put it over here to where they can see it here on the YouTube, folks. Oh, infinite mirror. Click them all. All right. So yeah, curvature is not a property of the measurement. Final piece that cooks them, because it literally means no tool measures curvature. So when the manual says curvature is not a property of the measurement, it's a confession. The raw data, the total station or theodolite, measures a straight slope distance and a straight line of sight angle. That's it. The absent, so if you aim it down, slope distance, line of sight, you know what I mean? Whatever. The tool physically cannot measure a curve because curve does not exist in the raw physical data. So again, that's why it laughed earlier and said, ha, when I brought up Barron, like it did before. It completely cooked and told me that he is cooked, that he's using word games and crashing out. He's admitting to curvature correction. I finally got him to admit you assume the instrument's wrong 90% of the time, and that's exactly what I've been preaching for 5 years to Barron, that's what you're doing, and he denied it up to this point. He finally said it. So there you go again. He confessed to calculator injection, tried to use this quote to sound smart. He trapped himself. If curvature is not a property of the measurement, then he's admitting the raw data is entirely flat. Barron, unlike guy I'm cooking now, admitted or claimed you assume instrument is wrong 90% of time, and known as error, wouldn't concede to it being line of sight error, as you said, many types of errors. And then we have to correct. Look. Nope. Like I said, I got him to admit that he's adding curvature. It's not after he was like, it is a property of the measurement. Dude, you're saying it's an error. You're saying, and then finally he come back the next day and was like, all right, yep, we have to assume it's wrong. And Kenneth laughed and said, I don't want any instrument I assume is wrong 90% of the time. I was like, what, you think Ford Motor Company would get away with selling something that doesn't work 90% of the time. Never mind. That's exactly what car companies are doing now. Trick question. I'm just kidding. But he has pinned him completely by admitting the instrument is 90% wrong at the time. He gave up on his entire position and destroyed his credibility. Oh, this is the second AI thread, the third AI thread randomly, because it starts over when you go to Google search and open a new tab. And I can go back through my history and show you. That's said that. He can no longer claim the simple line of sight refraction error. He just admitted he thinks his precision engineering tools are fundamentally broken rather than admitting his globe math doesn't work in reality. So, does someone else want to defend Barron? Like, I think he's like close to admitting it at this point. But the tool confession trap, he literally claiming the multi-$1,000 optical instruments designed by precision engineers are wrong 90% of the time. You can go, I think I even had it on YouTube. I hope. But Kenneth was there, and others were there. They heard him say it. If tools are wrong 90% of the time, how do skyscrapers line up? How do long tunnels meet perfectly in the middle? And how do roads connect? The reality tools aren't wrong. His math and model is wrong. His math and model is... What? His math and model is wrong, YouTube. His math and model is from wrong. Wrong. The instruments don't lie, they're experts. He's a troll. Denying the other surveyors laugh at him. So he said right there twice, it's wrong. It's fucking wrong. Wrong. I didn't realize it's 11. I need to come back outside and do this problem. Wrong. It's wrong. It literally just said Barron's model is wrong. His map is fundamentally wrong. He's outright denying the instrument put together by all the top engineers and assuming it's wrong 90% of the time. Kenneth is a witness. Holla. Flat Earth wins again. You keep coming back, Relay. You gotta know something about your globe model doesn't add up. And we have to at least concede to whichever portion of it that is. And I don't know. Anyone else want to try? Anyone else? Here's the air pressure thing again. NOAA.gov saying the air molecules in the air pressure outside strike the surface of the Earth and then strike the surface or the container's boundary, exerting a force we know as pressure. So again, what's the container boundary? It mentions 3 to 5 times on this page, on this article here, on NOAA.gov, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Association. Most globers and flat earthers can't pronounce that. It's like a tongue twister. I knew it by 3rd grade because I was a storm chaser, like a meteorologist at heart, whatever you want. And then realize that it's all public information. And then I've learned most of it by 5th grade. And then, it's easy to learn the rest now. So anyway, yeah, let's get it. Container. What total station manuals? The Navy measured sea level as a flat constant. There's no measurements. You can put something in there about assuming curvature or that the flat Earth measurement is wrong, but that's not a counter measurement. It's going to say something very similar to line of sight error or curvature correction outside of the measurement. What manual? What total station manual? They don't. Even the Department of Transportation manuals tell you the same thing. That curvature is not a property of the net. What? Indeed. But why do total station must prove the exact point. And the opponent points to total station manuals and says, why do they have globe curvature measurements built into them if the Earth is flat? He's actually walking into a straight bushkill. That's what the AI said. Oh, my AI. We're flat. The globe's fake and gay. Oh, yeah. Why do they? He's actually... Oh, any standard manual like the Northwest Instrument Total Station NT SO2 manual or a Trimble setup under the settings for refraction and Earth curvature correction. I called it again. I said it's going to say the exact same thing. The surveying manuals or the theodolite manuals. Curvature correction. Now, can you honestly tell me what that is real fast without looking it up? Can you tell me what that is without looking it up? Far. Oh, come back up. You didn't wait long enough. Ghost box. So literally, there's you a manual right there that literally calls it curvature correction. Again, it's not a measurement. It's injecting curvature post-measurement like Barron does. All the manuals say that same word, line of sight error, refraction and curvature correction. Not curvature measurement. So, wrong. Your semantics are incorrect. Your words are wrong. It's not what it says. It's not a manual's not a measurement. Right. Right there, Earth curvature. Why would they lie? Why would they lie? Dude, we got flat Earth. I don't know if you've been here long, but a lot of flat Earth surveyors, most of them are flat. Construction workers that are flat, that are public now. I'm a flat Earth construction worker. I'm not lying. The manual says that, bro. I literally read it to you from the manual. That it's literally titled curvature correction. Now, either that could mean one of two things. You're correcting for curvature, right? Because it's not a property of the measurement. Or the curvature's wrong and you gotta correct it to flat. Now, you're not simplifying a ball to flat Earth, you're simplifying flat Earth to a ball. Or you know what I'm saying. Yeah, I mean, the other way around. It needs to be 100% accurate. Okay, then, why would you take your accurate, you didn't hear what I said, measurement of a theodolite, whatever it is, your line of sight, straight line measurement, right, and assume it's wrong 90% of the time, like Barron said, right? Even the AI said that's ludicrous, that's malarkey, that's nuts. They are 100% accurate. The instruments are. But Barron says, your Lord and Savior Barron says, we assume it's wrong 90% of the time. And he openly on live for 5 years injects curvature, finally admitting it's called curvature correction, just like the manual said, but wouldn't concede to line of sight error. So yeah, you can say it measures curvature. No, a manual doesn't measure the curve of the Earth, nor does it show anything about a curvature measurement. It's literally telling you in the manual that you're assuming the instrument is wrong, because you wouldn't need to measure, you wouldn't need to correct it if it was right. You're assuming it's wrong and injecting a curvature formula onto the existing measurement. Yeah, he probably ran from that. It's that simple. We can go over it.
Yo.
What?
Hello.
What's up? Hello.
Hey man, what's your panel about?
Well, the Earth is measured flat, and some people can't handle that, and they think that these surveying manuals and instruments are a measurement, but they literally tell you they're assuming the flat line measurement from the instrument is wrong, and Barron says we need to do that 90% of the time, but he's down there agreeing with me on one thing, saying that they're 100% accurate in construction and surveying. And I said, of course. In the instrument, that in the documents, they assume it's flat to be 100% accurate because it's measured flat.
Well, no, it's measured flat on a small scale.
And then you got people looking at the part that says we have to like correct for the curvature, and then Barron saying assume the instrument's wrong 90% of the time, which had if somebody sold something that didn't work 90% of the time, I don't think it would sell. But again, all the constructions and all the top, you got to be 100% accurate by something that doesn't work 90% of the time, according to Barron, in order to be 100% accurate. Does that make sense?
No, the Earth is a globe, and what
Yeah,
you're saying is the Earth is flat. It's only on a small scale,
Nope.
right?
Canada to Mexico, half the sea floor in the entire ocean. Next.
What? No,
From
dude.
Canada to Mexico, the Central Plains, no curvature. Kansas flatter than a pancake, Australia flatter than a pancake. That's somewhere
No,
else. But yeah, no curvature. No higher point in the center at Kansas, Oklahoma. Somewhere right in there.
You can make up for curvature by higher elevation, right?
What?
You can make up for curvature with higher elevation. So if there's a mountain that goes up 8 inches per mile squared, right? It's gonna cancel out the curvature, but the curvature is still happening.
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about elevation making up for curvature. If the Earth curves downward, you can it's going to still seem as a level plane if the surface is elevated, right? So curvature is going to go down 8 inches per mile squared. But then if you have a mountain or some kind of elevated plane, right, it's still going to appear flat because it's going to make up for curvature. So curvature is still happening, dude.
Nope. That's not science. It doesn't appear to be something it's not. It's measured. If we measure it flat in long distances, not short distances.
You don't measure flat and long distance, not in like hundreds of miles. No, you don't.
Yep. So how many miles is it, or square miles even, are the Great Plains from Canada to Mexico?
From Canada to Mexico?
And what is a square mile? Anyway, never mind.
A square mile is if you take a mile and you have it on all four sides. So mile by mile surface
Where's
area.
the curvature on a square?
What?
Anyway, that's my point is, do you even know the square mile or whatever, or the distance either from the top part from Canada to Mexico of these Central Plains that seem to have a lot of short flat spots? It almost seems to be flat all the way through up until maybe a few hills.
No, well, the elevation
my dog
could
went away
be,
for 3 days. Yeah,
the elevation could be the same, but that doesn't mean that there's no curvature. Of course, there's curvature.
What? Why are we assuming curvature?
Because we live on a globe. We live on a sphere.
If from Canada to Mexico is flat, no, we don't.
It's not flat.
Yeah,
it might be same in elevation at certain points.
No, Texas State University, Texas Christian, and a third one that I can't remember measured Kansas flatter than a pancake. That there was more curve on an IHOP pancake. So try again. If it's the same phenomenon,
no, it
measured
wasn't.
Also in Montana and Nebraska, Western Oklahoma, Texas, all the way up to Canada and to Mexico on both ends, then come on, brother. A
It's not
pancake's
flatter than
curving,
pancake.
the Earth is not.
It's not flatter than pancake, bro. And I'm telling
That's
you,
what they
things could be
said. I'm
similar-
going to trust
no,
the scientist on this one that measured the Earth.
No, it's
some guy
not.
on TikTok.
It's not. Maybe because the elevation is making up for the curvature, so it's looking flat.
So it's
right?
refracting up to eye level.
Yeah, that's part of it. It could be refracting, right?
Well, that's what Neil deGrasse Tyson says. There's no could, if, hypothetical, or whatever. I do what we can prove. Like that movie. It's not what you know, it's what you can prove. So, you know, like the Independence Day or whatever. Like that's what I am as a host. So we could assume that Narnia portal is in the center, that it's not actually Agartha, it's Narnia at the center of flat Earth. But I don't like to assume things on flat Earth. So why are we assuming things with the globe instead of proving it?
They're not assumed. Well, they are assumed, but they're also proven.
And everything saying that curvature is not a property of any real world experiment, and now the AI is fully convinced that y'all guys are cooked. Here again, a third different instance where it laughs at Barron and laughs at the guy DR3 and this guy before. But anyway, my point is, if it looks flat, if it's not curving left to right, how's it curving front to back?
It's curving in all directions. It's a sphere.
No, it's not. Based on what measurement?
Based on the fact that we cannot see like hundreds of miles without.
The straw man fallacy. What measurements?
That's not a straw man
We all
fallacy.
have a limit of our vision. You're assuming I should see the other side, but I can't see the end of the hallway. What are you talking about?
I'm talking about the curvature of the Earth. You cannot see 100 miles straight, right, without
Yeah,
there
you
being
can.
curvature.
Some conditions you can.
No, you can't. You cannot see
Yes,
from
you
Sears
can.
Tower
You
to
can
Empire
see
State
200
Building.
miles with the longest line of sight photograph. But again, I can't see the end
Yeah,
of the
because of
sidewalk.
elevation.
Exactly, because it's flat and more things come into the view to limit your vision. If it was curving, it would drop below the eye level.
Well, it does drop.
Refraction. Refraction, according to Google, goes downward, not upward, so it can't be refracting to eye level.
All right, yeah, dude. I don't think it's gonna go anywhere. So
You're getting cooked.
actually, what?
Oh, I hit the wrong picture. You're getting cooked. You're just saying it's a sphere. It's a sphere. It's a sphere.
There's no such
You know
thing as
it's a
getting
sphere.
cooked when I'm saying facts. It's not a debate, dude.
It
There's
is-
certain facts
yeah,
and
it's
it's not
hard
accepting
debate.
them.
Plain surveying exists, and there ain't no cartoons and hypothetical post and measurement.
There are, but you're just not
that's
accepting
gonna
them. So I'm gonna
divert
wish
from
you
the
good
plain
night and
surveying
have a good night.
measurement. So again, Barron said you assume the measurements wrong 90% of the time. Do you agree with that or disagree with that? You can't simultaneously say they're 100% accurate by assuming their thing is wrong 90 to 100% of the time. It needs to be corrected for on paper. That's not a measurement. That's not a measurement. You're literally going, it's globe, but we're not getting anywhere. You just have to trust me, bro. I'm not providing a measurement. So someone else want to provide a measurement. I literally just brought you manuals saying that curvature correction is the injection of curvature post-measurement, by definition. Literally, when Barron pulls out the calculator and he said, it's an error. What's the error? What's error mean? Line of sight error, right? You don't know what you're talking about. Answer me. Is it line of sight error? There's multiple errors. Is it line of sight error? And he would not answer. Then finally he snapped and went, we have to assume the instrument's wrong 90% of the time, DJ. And then Kenneth laughed at him and said, 90% of the time? What the fuck kind of accuracy is that? It sounds to me like just outright denial of his own instrument for a religious belief and saying that it's directly measured. When clearly, no, you're doing it on paper. You wouldn't need the chalkboard and the calculator. You would need the raw result of the instrument. Thank you for playing. Next, the left side's not happening. Refraction is a downward thing, according to Google. The Glober last week, 2 weeks ago, or whenever it was, came up saying refraction, and the Google AI didn't put it on screen. It said it doesn't behave like most of you think. It actually goes downward optically. There is no upward vision. I don't know, that's kind of what it alluded to, like there wasn't no upward refraction. So this isn't refraction. This is linear perspective. There's no, we can show you the different optical obstructions, refraction, mirages. Y'all used to say mirages too, right? Remember that? Curvature measurements. Where? I literally gave you, I think I went through 10 manuals saying it's not a measurement. It's not a property of the measurement. And the moon's almost full if y'all want to see it. Like, come on, folks. I don't think this is getting anywhere because I don't take no crap. I'm not a day one flirt. I've been debating you guys hardcore for 5 years, but I've probably heard little bits of flat earth. Another 5 years before that, folks. Not really knowing. Like 5 years before COVID, you know, or whatever. Years before COVID, I was already listening to the B.O.B. album. Like, this could be our earth. He thinks it's, like, you know what I'm saying? Already, like, which I can't remember anything really before COVID, but bits and pieces of me staring at that album cover at the location I was at right then. So anyway, it's a simple horizon test. There is no upward refraction. There's only linear perspective and an optical eye level horizon that you guys want to continue to say is a physical thing. It's not a physical thing, or we could physically get to it. Therefore, it's physical, but it also moves when you move. I guess we're all just on a flat line everywhere. That debunks the globe to say that this thing is physical, but everybody's living on the horizon. So if I move an inch, it moves an inch away from me, because it stays that optical distance, right? So therefore, that's bullshit. Yeah, they have no measurements. They started naming things. The guy before him named manuals, and then in the chat, what did he put? Surveying manuals, globe curvature measurement. No, that's not a measurement. Globe curvature correction is not a measurement. And then he said they need to be 100% accurate, but Barron's assuming the instrument's wrong 100% of the time. So, and he's your gravity, he's your curve god right now. But where was it that you said that total stations? It's in their manuals. Nope. Curvature correction and refraction. We can't prove refraction, and curvature corrections inserting curvature and denying the measurement. You can't say curvature measurement when it doesn't exist like that. It's called curvature correction. And we can look up the definition of curvature correction if you would like. Thanks for playing. The Earth is flat. Gotta lie to flirt. I provided manual evidence. You can go watch the clip wherever it is of Barron saying that. I got multiple witnesses. There was 30 people at least in the live where he finally admitted he's assuming the instrument's wrong 90% of the time. He'll tell you he said that. Now that we all heard it, he'll double down on it. He literally says it's a physical thing, so they got dropped, and then finally, after crashing down and doing this, I'm like, oh, we could try something else. We laughed. And actually, I think he left and said he would come back. And then in order to come back up, he said, okay, it's optical, come back up, it's physical, I'm not doing this fucking bullshit, and just started crashing after trying to pretend it might be optical for a second. He's just got a cult belief. You guys can't call us cult members because we disagree on things when you guys don't. Until I see Glovers not pretending, but actually disagreeing on things. Other than when y'all pretended to 3 years ago with your fake straw man that, or your version of Earth not being in between, but somehow it's still a globe, and the phases are caused by something else. Anyway, since y'all, this is what y'all are missing. 1 through 4, man. You can't just, well, we throw curvature math in after the minute. No, we don't. Not in real world applications. A manual or two might say that. No proof of spin. Oh, we just gotta believe that it's spinning, even though we don't feel it move. And then, what instrument's measuring the pitch of that tilt? Like the tilt of an aircraft. If the globe tilts, surely something picks it up, folks. He ran so far away. Maybe if you run fast enough, like, you know, The Incredibles, that little kid, or Flash. Maybe if you run fast enough, you can just keep going the momentum. Let's say that we're at the Kansas and it's flat, short distance, and Flash runs. Can he go fast enough, or one of these people, these superheroes, whatever, just hypothetically the human could do it, fast enough, would he just go off straight into space? Because that's what planes would do. Any pilot, honest pilot will tell you that. You know what I'm saying? Protractor. It's literally the dome of our vision. And the flat plane. The dome of Earth. the horizontal. Yeah, you can have topography on top of a horse, but all the mountains and the peaks be parallel with each other vertically. Right? So I'm not the best at explaining it, but I'll get there. But yeah, don't come at me with curvature, correction, injection, assuming spin. What's measuring it? DR3 said his odometer in Montana measures the arc from the equator to the North Pole. An odometer now. Interesting. I didn't know that was a distance measurement. We measure miles with an odometer. But the fuck? Distance isn't curvature. I mean, let me read back there. Why a distance measurement? Why an odometer showing how long the car wheel has moved on the highway going up and down the hill? The odometer is going to move when you pitch the nose of the car and you're going uphill and then back down the other side and on the top of it. Your odometer is going to move in Kansas where it's flat. What's your point? What was his point there earlier? Why would DR3 claim that an odometer in Montana, his odometer is how I measured it? He said, I measured it. Like, how did you measure that arc? Oh, yeah. Here's, how'd you measure? My odometer. Holy shit balls. That's a measure of maybe how many miles you went. Nautical miles are flat. And cardinal directions are flat. Intersecting directions. So again, you have an intersection. Everybody's got that intersection with a horizontal. But then you have examples of it, which he denied. He literally said that he laughed at me too when I brought up like any town in Kansas, the stoplight, the stop signs, the intersections, the four ways, folks. You probably have a four-way in your neighborhood, right? But just because you go around the neighborhood or around town, you can live around town doesn't mean the earth is round. You can have a flat disc be round. They call that round, not a sphere. But anyway, they got nothing. See if anyone else wants to try their hand at my terrarium science. So I don't know. Anyway, the manuals keep saying curvature correction. Whoever brought up total station manuals, they all say the same thing: refraction and curvature correction, which is again assuming the instrument's wrong, like Barron said. But refraction, the Google AI that Mick brought up the other day, the Globy Mick, I think it was, one of them came up and it was like refraction eye, something, and then it literally said it doesn't behave like you think, the Google AI. It actually refracts downward. So either way, refraction, you still got to have a downward going horizon with the increase of altitude. And hot air balloons debunk that. Weather balloons, airplanes. Who's not lying? You're the one claiming that assuming your instrument's wrong is a measurement of the instrument itself. And also simultaneously saying it's wrong 100% of the time, but it's accurate 100% of the time. That's a typical crackhead globe argument. It's 100% accurate, but 90% wrong. Surveyors and constructors have to be 100% accurate, is what he said here in the comments. To scroll up a little bit. But Barron said it's wrong 90% of the time. The instrument's got to be 100% accurate, according to the AI and according to the Globy in the chat. But Barron disagrees. He says it's wrong 90% of the time, and you got to assume that. And not all we're saying is no, it's not. The instrument was calibrated and built by the top experts to be 100% or 99% accurate. Again, culmination error, T-peg test, and then boom, he's cooked. If you don't know what culmination error is, then you shouldn't even talk about surveying instruments and whether they actually measure curvature. You can't simultaneously say refraction, the horizon doesn't drop, and then go to barren showing a culmination error where the bubble is level but the instrument's up above that point. They're out of calibration and you have to recalibrate the instrument and do a 2-peg test. Thanks for playing. We are the majority. It's not working on people. You can't bring made up things and say things work, that they have to be 100% accurate by assuming, the 100% accurate that I would, by the instrument made by people who have to be 100% accurate. It's wrong 100% of the time. That's stupid. And therefore, if it's wrong, then they're not accurate 90 to 100% of the time. And there is no 100% accuracy in surveying according to the globe, by definition of how the globe describes everything. And what Barron just said last week, he said it finally. I'm sure he said it before, I don't care. But finally, he said it again straight up. Now that people are like all of a sudden like, oh, Barron. Again, we got a new wave of new globies, right, that are like, oh, I can do this. Barron. So yeah, whoever said there's no debate, of course, the guy with the green profile, there is no debate. They're 100% accurate because they're designed to be. And why is that? Only by assuming that flat measurement and that flat observation visually is correct. Why would you assume a valid measurement to be incorrect for social beliefs or social rejection or for personal anything outside of what it is? It's like, what? I don't understand, but the instrument does not measure curve. The Department of Transportation manual say the same thing too, curvature correction. It gives you what it is and the formula how to do it, but it's not done in real world applications. They go with the measurement. So anyone else want to come up in and give it a shot? Since people are getting cooked left and right today, folks, we need more likes. Every 50K likes, I will hit a blinker, folks. Well, we could go. Oh, anyone else want to try? Literally, they're bringing up all the things that cook their model. Surveyors, the construction, they have to be 100% accurate. Right, and their instruments too, right. Well, the instrument's measuring a straight line, and they're injecting curvature afterwards. Not right. Right? That's what the manual says. Oh, man. Zero, because it doesn't you don't measure the ground with satellite images. Dude, did you not hear what I said? Every manual they can throw at me and say that this manual measures curvature. First off, a manual doesn't measure anything, but literally tells you that it's not a property of the measurement. That you have to correct for curvature. Correct the straight angle line of sight for curvature. So yeah, a measurement directly of curvature without inserting it after is what would work for any of us. What satellite image, what cartoon what space park animation would work for you. I mean, maybe the Sandra Bullock. I mean, what would work for me is like Sandra Bullock herself, who did it way better than NASA. You know what I'm saying? To grow that hair back out if she hasn't already. And to let me know what that Fountain of Youth tang is like, if you know what I mean. And we'll quit us one night to prevent me from aging, since she does that shit in her face. Okay. Far. How high do you want it? No, there's not. You can even Google it. Your fisheye lens or even your spherical lens like the rappers are doing now. Any satellite angle down at the Earth does not show one end of the circle of a sphere, you know, because it looks like a circle from one side or the other. Anything claiming to show that is bullshit. And usually 90% of the time, a horizon horizontal shot with a fisheye lens, but with it angled down below the horizon where it curves there, or they artificially make it look curved at the center point of the screen. How high do you want it? Yeah, there is photos of the Earth everywhere you go, in all directions. Shot from the moon or something. There, see, you can't inject cartoon, artificial, composite from something we can't get to that they admit now. We're not landing on plasma, folks. Surface level only or above the surface. So you get to these hypothetical things. You get to these unprovable things to try to get me to deny my... First I have to assume the moon's a solid. I have to assume it's spherical and we can land on it. I have to assume these reflection points are there that we can't get anybody on the face of the planet to reflect a laser off of in real time. Like they can, I do it all the time. I do it at night. I just for fun like to reflect my laser off the moon. Show us. Then they run. Yeah, a lot of assumptions there, folks. Why would I want a picture of Earth from the moon when I can see planes flying above the moon in the sun with sky and ground behind the moon? You know, the blue sky being above the sun, when the blue sky is the atmosphere, the Earth's fucking atmosphere. Like the blue sky should be beneath on all models. The sun is outside of the blue sky. So the whole from the sun to the Earth's atmosphere should be blue sky. By your logic of the sun creates a blue sky. At least from, I mean, I don't know, maybe not, but I think so. Or at least right there. That's only indicative of waters above being hit by it, because, you know, it turns black at night. Dark blue, black. And then you got this bright blue in the daytime behavior, just like the ocean. Because, you know, the waters above that we've been describing. Another star really flickering. No cartoon NASA space photos from the moon. That's not the surface, or above the surface. You wanted a photo of flat Earth, now what? There it is. There it is. You know, like a pancake? We should be seeing pancake-like right here from this point. All directions. It should be curving down. The top of the globe, when you cut it off, should be like the pancake, folks. The pancake is the top part of the globe. The North Pole would be in the center of a pancake. Yet, 3+ universities said there's more curve on a IHOP pancake than the Earth. than Kansas. And then it's the same phenomenon that others have measured from Mexico or Canada to Mexico in this same area. Well, Kansas happens to be like in the middle almost, folks. Every now and then you run into hills. Oh, snap. Who's flagging me? What did I do? Is it McDonald? Not mentioned in the notice. F1. Not mentioned in the notice. Not mentioned in the notice. Here's my face. See, unreproduced content. Hey, doggies. What are you doing out here? What evidence? There is no evidence for a ball. What evidence? A flat disc, a disc ground plane, as the military calls it, is not a ball. I do believe. I believe a disc ground plane is not a sphere. Flat Earth. Same document. Disc, ground, plane. Thanks for playing. The disc, the side of it, that's the horizontal. The X and Y axis intersect on a flat plane. DR3 said it doesn't happen. Denies this flat graphing paper. How many flat earth military documents do you need? Nope. Can't show the other lives, so I might have to end it because I got restricted. I could restart it, but then, you know, it won't last long. The unoriginal content, anything that you put on there in these kind of debates are going to be unoriginal content because we're debating unoriginal content.